Right. Lecture 2, Real Analysis. This lecture resumes from the previous lecture series for the subject Real Analysis 1 for the student of PS Part 2 and MSc previous. Last time we were discussing about the sequences, and in this lecture we will see the limits of the sequence and some examples. The definition: a sequence of real numbers or a sequence in R is a function defined on the set of natural numbers whose range is contained in the set R of real numbers. The sequence can be denoted by x, xn, xn such that n belongs to n, and this is an example of the sequence 1 over 2n such that n belongs to the set of natural numbers. And if n belongs to the set of natural numbers, so we can input 1, 2 in this sequence. If we put 1 here, we get 1 over 2, comma 1 over 4, comma 1 over 6, and so on, as far as we are putting the values in n from 1 to so on. So you can see that the input values are the set of natural numbers, and we get the values in the range of real numbers. Okay, so here it says whose range is contained in the set R. So this one is a real number: 1 upon 2, 1 over 2, 1 over 4, 1 upon 6. So these are the real numbers, and we have input as a natural number here. There are some examples. Example A: suppose if B is a real number, the sequence B uh, is such that B, 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 all of whose terms equal B, is called the constant sequence B. Thus, the constant sequence 1 is the sequence 1, 1, 1, and the constant sequence 0 is the sequence 0, comma 0, comma 0. Means if we place the value of B is equal to 1, then it becomes the one constant sequence like this, and the sequence 0, constant sequence 0, is such that if you uh, assign 0 to B, then it becomes 0, 0, 0, comma 0. Example B says if B is a real number, then B power n is a sequence B is equal to B, B power 2, B cubed, B power n. In a particular, if B is equal to 1 over 2, then we obtain the sequence 1 over 2 power n. This sequence becomes like this: if you hold a value of B as 1 over 2, then you get the sequence 1 over 2, comma 1 over 4, comma 1 over 8, comma so on up to 1 over 2 power n. Okay, the sequence of 2n, you know, that is that generates the even numbers of even natural numbers, can be defined inductively by x is 1 is equal to 2, xn plus 1 is equal to xn plus 2. Now this sequence basically generates the even terms, and we can see which are those even terms. We can write here, these are 2 and comma 4, comma 6, and the sequence goes on, all right, like this. So if I say that x1 is this term, so the next term will be the next term means n plus 1 term will be xn plus 2. So if I say the value of the n is 1 here and the term is 2, so 2 plus 2 becomes 4, the next term n plus 1 means term 2, all right. So or by definition y1 is equal to 2, yn plus 1 is equal to y1 plus yn. This is same thing. This produces the the next term in the even number sequence the same way likewise. Another example, the celebrated Fibonacci sequence Fn is given by the inductive definition f1 is equal to 1, f2 is equal to 1, fn plus 1 is equal to fn minus 1 plus fn n is greater than or equal to 2. The each term past the second is the sum of its two immediate predecessors. The first 10 terms of f are seen to be 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55. Now first of all, we need to understand what is the Fibonacci series is. The Fibonacci series generates in a way that you add the first two terms, 1 plus 1 gives the third term 2, and when it says that when n is greater than or equal to 2 means here n is 1, alright, here n is 2. So now what we have to do, we have to follow this formula. So suppose I am to generate this term, third term, I need previous two terms, 1 plus 1 generates 2, and 1 plus 2 we get 3, and 2 plus 3 we get 5, 3 plus 5 we get 8. What we are observing, we are observing that we are getting the next term when we are adding previous two terms. So this formula is following the same strategy, that it is adding the last two terms and getting the new term. Suppose I come here and here I observe that the value of n is equal to 3 here, all right, and value of n is equal to 3. So I am supposed to generate 3. So I will be getting n plus 1 term means 4, f4. What I need to do, what this formula does, it is adding the previous two terms f2 and f3. Now you can see n is equal to 3, so n minus 1 gives you f2, and plus fn is f3 term means this 2. So 1 plus 2 is equal to 3, so f4 term is equal to 3. This is the Fibonacci sequence. The limit of a sequence, there are number of different limit concepts in real analysis. The notion of limit of a sequence is the most basic and it will be the focus of this chapter. Definition: a sequence xn in real numbers or in R is said to converge to x as a real number, or x is said to be a limit of xn if for every epsilon there exists a natural number k epsilon such that for all n is greater than equal to k epsilon, the term xn satisfy xn minus x is less than epsilon. Let me clear you this definition. It says that xn is a sequence. Now this sequence is converging, is going to end some point x, and that x is a limit of the xn of means this sequence xn. But there are certain conditions. There is a positive number epsilon, because epsilon is greater than 0. There exists a natural number k. Alright, means there is a case such that for all n is greater than or equal to k, means xn terms when come to the epsilon neighborhood, then they satisfy this condition. What condition? The terms of the sequence and the difference with their limit is smaller than the epsilon, means when the sequence is going to converge, is going to near to converge the x limit, then the term difference with its limit is less than epsilon. We will understand this concept in the next figure. If a sequence has a limit, we say that the sequence is convergent, and if it has no limit, we say that the sequence is divergent. When a sequence has limit x, we will use the notation limit x is equal to x or limit xn is equal to x. We will sometimes use the symbolism xn converging to x. It means is showing that xn is converging to x, showing arrow that xn terms are going to end x to going to end at the x, which indicates the intuitive idea that the values xn approach the number x as nx tends to infinity. So xn approach the number x as you as a n tends to infinity. The notation k epsilon is used to emphasize that the choice of k depends on the value of epsilon. However, it is often convenient to write k instead of k epsilon. In most cases, a small value of epsilon will usually require a large value of k to guarantee that the distance xn minus the absolute value of the xn minus x between xn and x is less than epsilon for all n is greater than k epsilon. Now it's saying that k can be written as k instead of k epsilon in most cases, and also saying that the small value of epsilon will usually require a large value of k to guarantee that the distance between the terms xn and its limit x is less than epsilon for all n is greater than or equal to k of epsilon. Now we understand this by the example, by a figure in which we can see this figure. This figure shows that these are the n value numbers, natural numbers. Okay, so you can assume that there is a 1 and 2 and so on up to n values, all right. And now this here it is x1 term, here it is x2 term, and here it is xk minus 1 term, and here it is xk term. uh, k is exactly here because the value of n is greater than or equal to k, you can see here, all right. And now if you see that the in the sequence is converging to some L, and we have xn minus x, so we can also assume that it can be xn minus L, like this, is less than epsilon, this one, all right. So L is same as here x. Now you see that L has some boundaries, epsilon plus L, because when we simplify this inequality, we get what? We get minus epsilon, you know that very well, plus L, and we get the inequality is less than what? Xn, all right, is less than xn, and plus what? L plus epsilon. Yeah, clear? sorry, this is a less than sign here, and we get basically what, epsilon here. So if we solve this inequality, we get this thing, and here it is, because L is here, so if you add some epsilon number, it gives you the epsilon plus L, and if you subtract epsilon from L, this gives you minus epsilon plus L, this point and this point. So when terms you continue to input in the xn, and what happens, the terms grows and enter the this boundary, because the terms are converging to some L, so they enter the minus plus L, or they enter the epsilon plus L, this boundary, minus epsilon plus L or epsilon plus L, whatever, and they are going to end this L point. Alright, so they are converging to L. Now if you see that these terms are out of the boundary, because these are not in this area, they are growing, and some terms are entering the neighborhood of the L. So you see, this is K, where they enter at what point, K point, K number. Alright, they enter the K number, here it is K value, and K value also belongs to the natural numbers. K belongs to the natural numbers. So the K epsilon is basically here at this point. Here it is, because it is entering the neighborhood of a L, and the neighborhood of the L is defined in as epsilon neighborhood, all right. So this is the concept of this. So this statement says that small value of epsilon will usually require a large value of k to guarantee that the distance xn minus x between xn and x is less than epsilon. Now this term is xn also, and this term is xn, and these terms are also xn. Now here, when they enter the boundary, this the distance between this xn term and the L is smaller. All right. Okay. Uniqueness of limits. A sequence in R can have at most one limit. Proof. Suppose that x dash and x double dash are both limits of xn. For each epsilon greater than 0, there exists k dash such that xn minus x dash is less than epsilon over 2. For all n is greater than k dash, and there exists k double dash such that xn minus xn, the absolute value of or the distance between the xn minus x double dash, is less than some epsilon over 2 for all n is greater than or equal to k double dash. We let k be the larger of the k dash and k double dash. Then for n greater than or equal to k, we apply the triangle inequality to get. Before we understand this, let me give you the idea what this uniqueness of limits theorem say. It says that a sequence in R can have at most one limit, means there can be the uniqueness of the limit only. A sequence can one limit only. And if it is not the case, we try to prove it. Alright, suppose we get two limits, x dash and x double dash, alright, and say that these both are the limits of the xn. For each epsilon greater than 0, means epsilon be positive, and we say that there exists k dash such that the absolute value of or the distance between the xn and its limit x dash is less than some epsilon over 2 for all n is greater than or equal to k double dash, k dash, and there exists another k double dash such that the distance between the xn and another its limit x double dash is less than some epsilon over 2 for all n is greater than or equal to k double dash. We let k be the larger of k dash and k double dash because k is the bigger. These are the parts of this. Then for n is greater than or equal to k, we apply the triangle inequality to get this these equations. How? We start by observing the difference between the two limits and write the absolute value to see the distance, and write in this way: x dash minus x double dash is equal to, we add extra this term to to compare it with the definition of the limits. So, and we say by triangle inequality that this term is less than or equal to this term x dash minus xn plus xn minus x double dash, and this is same as we get in the definition of the limit is less than epsilon over 2 plus epsilon over 2, and when we add these terms we get epsilon. So these both are less than epsilon. When it is the same thing that there is only one limit, alright. So it means that when this gives is less than epsilon, so there is no difference between x dash and x dash double dash, and their difference is equal to 0. So xn has only one limit as x, alright. For x is a real number, and for every epsilon greater than 0, recall that epsilon neighborhood of x is the set this one. Since u belongs to epsilon neighborhood of x is equivalent to u minus x, the definition of the convergence of a sequence can be formulated in terms of the neighborhoods. We give several different ways of saying that a sequence xn converges to x in the following theorem. Now in this part it says, gives us the idea of the neighborhood of the x, alright. So u belongs to R, u minus x is less than epsilon, and if this condition is satisfied we say that uh, uh, u belongs to the neighborhood of x. So let me clear you why is this, because we are seeing that what is we are saying this that we are trying to see that we were discussing basically xn minus L or x, you can say x is less than epsilon, alright. Means if this satisfies, it means the xn means sequence xn has limit L, alright. So this is when this is according to this definition, okay. So we can say that xn belongs to what? Xn belongs to the where? Xn belongs to the neighborhood of the v of epsilon neighborhood L, like this, alright. This is same thing here, alright. So some xn terms are close enough to L that their difference is less than epsilon, and we say that those terms are in the neighborhood of the L, the limit of the xn. So this is same idea that if we say that u belongs to the neighborhood of x, means the difference between the x and u is such small that this is less than epsilon, then we say that u is in the neighborhood of the x is equivalent to this. The definition of the convergence of the sequence can be formulated in terms of neighborhoods, we give several different ways of saying that a sequence xn converges to x in the following theorem. Let x be a sequence xn of real numbers. Let x is a real number. That following statements are equivalent. Now the theorem says that if the xn a sequence and that sequence xn is converging to x, it has limit x, then the following a b c d points are true, okay, are equivalent. X converges to x. All right. So of course, if xn has a limit x, it means that x is converging to x. Alright. For every epsilon greater than 0, there exists a natural number k such that for all n greater than or equal to k, the terms xn satisfy xn minus x is less than epsilon. The absolute value of this, or the distance between the xn and x, is less than epsilon. For every epsilon greater than or equal to 0, there exists a natural number k such that for all n greater than or equal to k, the terms xn satisfy this inequality. This inequality comes from this one. Alright, so these three are straightforward equivalent if x has got some limit x. Alright, now the d, in D we can see that for every epsilon neighborhood, for every epsilon neighborhood v epsilon x of x, there exists a natural number k such that for all n is greater than or equal to k, the terms xn belong to the epsilon neighborhood. And just right back, if you see, I gave you uh, uh, the example that how this point was saying that you can see here. All right, because if we compare in xn terms, I just write it again, xn minus l. All right, here is less than epsilon. All right, and if we break this, we come to this inequality. What inequality? Minus epsilon plus l plus l uh, plus l is less than xn. You can see, all right, okay, is less than epsilon plus l. Okay, and this gives idea that there are some xn terms that belong to where, belong to the neighborhood of the v epsilon of l. All right, this neighborhood, this one, this is l. Okay, so this is same idea that whenever a sequence xn is converging to x or has a limit x, these all apply, or these all points are equivalent. Okay, so the equivalence of abc is just definition. The equivalence of bc follows from the following implications: u minus x. Okay, we say that u is some xn term is less than epsilon if and only if this happens, minus epsilon, and this gives us x minus epsilon is less than xn term, means u is xn, is less than x plus epsilon, and that term belongs to, u belongs to the neighborhood of the x. Here in this case I say that xn belongs to the neighborhood of the l. All right. With the language of neighborhoods, one can describe the convergence of the sequence xn to the number x by saying for each neighborhood, for each epsilon neighborhood, v epsilon x of x, all but finite number of terms x belong to the neighborhood, V epsilon neighborhood, the finite number of terms that may not belong to the epsilon neighborhood are the terms x1, x2 up to the xk minus 1. Now we understand this text, that what does it mean from by showing you a figure. The figure is same, that if you observe, when I said that xn is converging to some limit x, x or L, so it means that the terms are growing in this manner, that they enter the neighborhood, this minus epsilon plus L and epsilon plus L. When they enter the boundary, they enter at a k number, that k is less than or equal to n, or n is greater than or equal to k. Alright, so there is k. So this is the neighborhood boundary, and some terms enter the neighborhood. So if x k term is exactly at the boundary, then xk plus 1 term, xk plus 1 term is in the neighborhood. All right, xk plus term is in the neighborhood, this one. All right, and so on. So there are some terms, you can see the finite number of terms that may not belong to the epsilon neighborhood are the terms x1, x2, xk minus 1. Means if xk is on the boundary, then these terms are not in the epsilon neighborhood. That's true, we can understand from figure, because these terms are here, and when they enter the boundary in the epsilon neighborhood, then it is xk term there, not xk minus 1, and all the terms after the xk are in the epsilon neighborhood. All right, so this is the idea what this text is saying.